I'm not gonna let our girl go because unless she wants to. But I do have a couple questions for you as far as the Real Housewives, because I know you do it all.
Okay.
You
Okay.
bravo it all. So I would love to know your thoughts on everything going down right now from the Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Potomac, because we especially watch that and cover that. But as you know, I think you saw the other day, or maybe you didn't see it online, where we saw Wendy and Gizelle hugging, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I was here for it. I
Mm-hmm.
was so here for it. But I know a lot of people feel like, well, you're giving too much. You know what I mean? Now,
Like she
and
like releasing too much.
right, because now, I mean, yes, we're waiting for that. We're waiting to see them be good, but we want to see how that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, how
Um,
that
and
happened.
then and then even Atlanta, we've seen so much come out lately with Kenya
Girl.
Moore's grand open or reopening and all of that stuff, and then the Porsha and Simon of it all.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts about that?
So with Wendy and Gizelle, I'll say this. When the seating chart was first released for the reunion earlier this year, I tweeted, and I'm going to paraphrase my own tweet because I don't even remember it. But basically, I said something like, after the seating chart release, we see Giselle is seat number 2. We'll see just how ready she is to move. We'll see. I bet you she'll be wanting to move forward with the cast because she wants to keep
Mm,
her job. I literally, and so with the whole Wendy
because
thing,
she ain't getting no money from GNA.
no. And I said this. To me, Potomac was almost like in my mind, with the Wendy and Giselle of it all, or even if Candace had stayed her moving forward, it would have rang false because you spent 2 seasons, not just one, 2 seasons trying to not have a conversation with her, not even wanting to mention her or Candace's name, nothing. To now we're hugging. I believe the network had a conversation with them. And also, they're filming at the same time Jersey's airing. They can say that they're not on social media, that they're not on the blogs. They are, which is how they know how to bring up these things on the show to talk about. And I think the message got through. They ain't getting no reunion because their Potomac is actively filming. So I think that they had a talking to, like, and there was a lot of backlash after the season with the whole icing out with, and
Mhm.
whether people think Candace and Wendy, nobody was icing them out, they're just unlikable. No, the bottom line is you had a cast member that would not engage in conversations with
Mhm.
2 of her other cast members. That does not make for a good show. So I
No,
feel
you
like,
know what did it for me in the reunion? I'm sorry to cut you off. What
no,
did
go
it for
ahead.
me is when Andy even called Giselle out for just being mean.
Come
Like
on.
because she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about the past," and she was like, and I was just,
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh my god, I just can't see it for her." I
that's
be trying,
that second
and I
seat
just can't
fired her
see it.
up. You know what got me was when you sit in your confessionals, running your mouth. Then Robin brings up them feeling like Candace and Wendy made a face at her daughter. Wendy walks up to y'all with Candace and said, basically, so what are we talking about? And girl, when she turned her head and went like this, see, I have no respect for you. Because if you really had an issue, you was just talking about it, you would have said,
If
check
you're
this
talking
out.
about my child, we're addressing it.
Right. So to me, that's when I was like, nah, so I felt like she felt like her place was secure. And so now let me tell you this again. I had Brooke Ashley on yesterday, and she has some sources at NBC Universal. And she'll every once in
Mhm.
a while like drop some tea. She said her sources who work at NBC Universal / Bravo told her that it wasn't just Giselle definitely felt secure in her job. I mean, they've made her the face. Robin also did. And Robin also felt like she was untouchable. So her being let go was a surprise, and it shook some things up with the ladies. And again, there were conversations, which
Mhm.
is why we see the Wendy and
We
Giselle of it all.
we had to
I'm
we had
okay
to
with
get
it.
rid of regular Robin. We had to get
And
rid of regular Robin.
regular Robin. I love when Ken Fire says that. But so to me, with the whole Wendy and Giselle thing, I understand it because we're making a show. Because some people are upset with Wendy. Wendy wants to keep her job too. Wendy knows it's in the best. Come on, like they all want to keep their jobs. So do I buy it?
Just like Karen.
No,
I don't think Karen like half them for real, for real. But
at
she
all.
tolerates
But
them,
for the
and
show,
that's why I can compare her to Stansberry. Stansberry
right?
didn't want to mess with none of them the first season.
at all. But guess what? That's how we got to make a show here, because the show is not even if it's built around you, it's an ensemble cast.
Yes, right.
So I feel like with the Gizelle and Wendy of it all, it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna see them get along this season. But to me, it just rings like I want to keep my job. With you asked about Atlanta. Child, Kenya showed them pictures. Anyway, that's how I feel. I'll say this. When I first heard it, this was my first thought. Man, I hope Kenya didn't do that, but I don't think it's beneath her. I'm sorry. I was hoping that she didn't do it, really hoping, but I didn't think it was beneath something that she would do either. See, listening to that audio and hearing somebody say, that's a penis. That's a penis. I was like, so clearly they were looking
I didn't hear the audio.
Oh, girl.
I just know about, the story, but I didn't hear nothing about
in the audio. You hear Kenya saying she was an insurance fraud hoe, that she Snapchat, that Brittany, she's talking to Brittany, that Brittany, it's a rapper's name. Oh my God. Yo Gotti. I think she said Yo Gotti asked you to Snapchat she doesn't say vagina, she says the other word. And you did it. Not only are you a hoe, you're a cheap hoe. She's listed on an escort for 14. She says that Brittany is an escort and only charges 14. But you hear people say, oh, that's a penis. That's a penis. You hear that in the audio. I also
what the hell is Bravo gonna do with this?
And see, that's what I'm saying. I also listened to Michelle Brown, straight from the ATLian, and I also this. Yeah. She was invited to the event, didn't go to the event, but then ended up.
Sent someone, right?
She recorded from across the street. So when people were saying Brittany wasn't there, I literally watched her record Brittany and Kelly walk in together, and then you see people coming out, like a lot of people coming out at one time. You see Brittany and Kelly really fast, and you see a lot of people coming out. And then on her Patreon, somebody walks up to her car and is like, yo, can you just show pictures of Brittany, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to say, I looked at Kenya's statement. I
want to believe she wasn't that stupid.
Well, I looked at Kenya's, when you look at her statement, Kenya didn't, because people keep saying it's a lie because Kenya said she didn't do it. Nope, Kenya didn't say that. What Kenya said was, I didn't engage in revenge P. And then she basically gave the meaning of revenge P. I did not engage in revenge P. I did not solicit someone's private images to harass or threaten. She never said, I didn't show pictures of Brittany. She said, I didn't commit revenge P, which when you look up what revenge P is, and when you look up OnlyFans, is that if you take someone's OnlyFans, is that like revenge P? Some lawyers, and every lawyer is different, but I looked on a couple different sites, and there were lawyers saying OnlyFans is a public platform, so you can't, so there's no reasonable expectation of privacy. So it technically could not be considered revenge P because she didn't go and get someone's private images. She took someone's images off a public platform, just like on Facebook when somebody can take your images.
Right.
And Facebook is like, sorry, not, because I know plenty of people who went through that. My kids used to be in entertainment and would go back and forth to New York for auditions. They had a manager, all that stuff. And let me tell you, somebody sent me and was like, girl, why is your son listed under this agency? Somebody tried to start said that they had a modeling agency and we could make your kids famous, and took my son's headshots and a couple other mothers that I know who were signed to the same agent. And Facebook was like, you posted these pictures on a public platform. Even though you have to pay for OnlyFans, some of them, the lawyers were saying that it's still not considered revenge P. So I do believe that Miss Moore showed pictures based off of the audio again. And if she didn't show that, maybe she showed an eggplant in the place
that she was giving about empowering women, and
that's what I'm saying.
That's why I was like, okay, now I can't even say I like or dislike Kenya. she's not my favorite. She definitely was not my favorite person back in the day. I
Child,
think
me
that
either. I
I
was like
think
that.
right, but I think being a mother and seeing her, it softened us up to her,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I
And we were
agree.
like, okay, but this type of stuff, even if you're a mother, you have a young daughter. Imagine if someone were to do that to little
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
And somebody else said, and it was a good point. Oh, Brooke, she said, I can see if Kenya wanted to do that to get at Brittany, doing it at a luncheon, passing it around the pictures at a luncheon. This is your event. And I said, I feel like she went on Carlos King last year and said that they didn't show her soft opening. So she wanted to make sure she wanted to publicly embarrass Brittany, but and she did it. Bravo would want that to be film. I mean, if you take out the whole nudity of it, if
Right.
you're creating drama at your event, so that means your event will more than likely be shown.
But will anybody come to your,
Well,
do you
that's what,
understand? Because she's
no.
getting a lot
Anybody,
of backlash. She's
yes,
doing the opposite. Like, and that doesn't
that's what
make
I said. I would never. I would have done it like Ashley said. If I was gonna, I mean, like Brooke Ashley said, if I was gonna do that, we're gonna be at a luncheon, no matter how you came at me, because I find a lot of people are defending Kenya, which I get it. Like we have a tendency to do that with our phrase, but also, again, I don't feel like it's beneath her to do. And honestly, for me, it felt very Marlo-esque. If she did that, that to me was a Marlo thing. That's something that
and I
Marlo
know
would do.
Shay, that's what I'm gonna be so literally I hated reviewing last season because I was like,
Marlo to
I
me,
am so sick of Marlo. I'm
yep,
so sick of Marlo. And I
yep.
was like, she is the word. It's always looking for a moment, even where there is none, and
Even
trying
where,
to, even when there isn't none. Like the whole thing with Candy and you weren't there for me. There was no stop,
yeah,
stop.
especially when we did see her in a flashback hugging you and all that, they just didn't air it. So I do feel like Kenya showed something, and it was funny because somebody posted the pictures. I'm sure you've seen it of the poster board that says you are an insurance fraud hoe, and people were
Yeah.
like, "That's vindicating her." Actually, no, because there was a poster board behind that. And what else is interesting is that Michelle, AT Alien, she I don't know if I'm just gonna say they clearly had to get it from her. She had already put out that Kenya called the girl an insurance fraud. She put all that out, and then days later we see the pictures of it. So that's why I believe this happened. Yeah, because people are saying they're lying. Kenya said she didn't do it. Y'all got to pay attention. Kenya said she didn't engage in revenge P. That's not the same as posting somebody's public pictures. And I believe she probably maybe had an eggplant or something in front of it. Again, for the girl, you have got to listen to that audio. You hear it sounded like Porsha. That's a penis.
Well, I
They
know
say it
Porsha
twice.
was saying something like, "Oh, that's revenge P. That's revenge P." Like she didn't want no part of it, and which
So
was so
yeah,
crazy because I said for Porsha to be the one saying it,
come
and I don't
on.
know how things are going to go down this season. But I heard Brittany was Fallon's cousin,
That's what that's what I heard
so
too.
I was
So
like, for her to even be going up for her,
right.
right is right, wrong is wrong.
Regardless, yeah. So
Yeah.
I believe that Kenya did something. People are saying, what did Britt do to make Kenya come after her like that? Oh, she's experiencing Kenya more. I will say this: people are looking at it like, if you mess with Kenya, she will get you back. Very true, but that means Brittany had to do something to rattle her enough to go there. So people
Well,
are
I heard
acting
it
as
was
if.
something about a pow pow, and she, threatened her.
And she said that you don't know me, and allegedly Brittany was like, you don't know me, and Kenya was like, oh, I'm gonna get to know you, or I'm gonna, and then boom, this happens. But for me, again, I go back to, people are making it seem like Kenya has the upper hand, like, she got the Kenya more experience, or Kenya got her, but clearly she rattled Kenya enough to do that.
Mm.
Because if it were, you know what I mean, like to do that, and that's what, to me, we know these women get on here, cuss each other out, do whatever. Taking Kenya out of it, another woman doing that to another woman. Then how do they turn around and have empowerment events? I just don't. I just don't. So yeah. So you asked me about what? Potomac, and then you asked me about Atlanta. And
Oh, and
there's
then
something else.
last but not least, Porsha and Simon. Because
Child,
look, they was going at Simon was going at her today. I said he gonna quit.
he said no Africans, no Rolls Royce, get your own or something. No more Africans, no more Rolls Royces. Get your. I said, now wait a minute, sir. So now he's done the cease and desist. They can't film in the Rolls Royce. So here's how I understand it. I know that people keep saying Porsha can't film in the home. I don't think that's it. If you look at the paperwork, he sent a cease and desist to Bravo and Truly Original saying, I don't want you to stop filming in my home. They had to go to Porsha files an emergency order to be able to film in the home. They have a court hearing, and in the hearing, the judge says, gives the ruling that Porsha can remain in the home and have unlimited access to it. And
right.
that Simon has to let her know.
Kids were homeless or something like that.
And that Simon has to let her know when he's coming. The judge also said, in the matter of filming, I'm not going to rule for it or against it. We will settle that after we settle the prenup. So the judge did not rule that Porsha couldn't film in the home. He said he wouldn't rule on it at all. Bravo and Truly Original, when they got the cease and desist, was like, we're not getting involved in the legal, so we're not filming. Right. Now, him sending a cease and desist with Porsha not being able to film. I don't want you to film her in the Rolls Royce. Bravo's probably again and Truly Original. Okay.
Well, I heard she's not even supposed to. He doesn't even want to be talked about. He does not want to be part of her storyline.
Truly Original actually said they weren't going to film in the home until they had a court order. So now it's probably going to be the same about the Rolls Royce. So I think Simon is trying to hit her in her pockets because he knows how this could affect her on the show. If we can't film in your home, girl, we can't even film you in your car. Of course, Bravo is probably going to keep her, but are they rethinking? This is a headache.
Okay.
So I think that he's trying to hit her
on the block.
In more ways than one. It spun it and then spun it on the other side and then spun it back around again and then snatched up witnesses and said, we're going to spin it together and see. Porsha thought, I don't think Porsha realized, even if it's alleged.
I don't know if you heard the rumor that, and I did hear this like recently, that like her and Simon were allegedly, let me use my words, they were allegedly dating because Dennis told her before.
A year
before. I did think that was weird. I was like, he met you and then y'all got engaged like after a month. I was like, no, I mean, I know you probably feel like you got good cat, but it ain't like that, boo-boo. Like, come on. So I just thought that was
at that reunion when they were all dressed in black, Marlo made the comment, I know who you're dating. And then it was like they never got more into it. She made that comment at that reunion. Also, but did you see the post where Simon, I think it was today, it was either today or yesterday, but I think today was like, should you be taking gifts from your ex if you're still legally married? So I feel like karma was coming. Oh, Porsha. I feel like regardless of how people say Simon's a scammer, even if he scammed his way into the country and scammed his way into successful businesses, he is a businessman. The fact that he was married to Fallon and she walked away with $50,000 and all the money he got, and she only walked away with $50,000 and I think a house maybe. That man isn't stupid. I don't think because again, him and these cease and desist, he knows what he's doing right now. Bravo and Truly Original.
He's in the country right now and he's serving papers.
And he knows that a business is not going to want to get involved in a legal matter. Again, there's nowhere in any paperwork where the judge says Porsha can't film at home. He just sent a cease and desist to Bravo and Truly Original. And they said, we're not filming in the home until we get a court order. The judge has said they will not rule on the case of being able to film in the home until they settle the prenup. So Simon knows what he's doing. I'm going to create hell for you on your job. You can't film in the house. You can't film in the car. So he's trying to make it more difficult for her. And I don't think she banked on him being like that.
I hope Bravo is getting all these tweets and all these Instagram posts going on.
Yeah. So that's what I think about that. I think Carmen's spun the block. I think he's and Simon is trying to make it very difficult for Porsha. Not
And
saying
I
that
heard she
Bravo
was
is going to
already
drop her.
dating somebody, or like she got her little boo thing because he said she was. I believe he accused her of cheating,
Well,
and
did
would
you
like
see when she posted something? Being single has its own, like she posted something about being single and being discovering yourself, and then Dennis commented, "Come back home, boo." Oh yeah, that was
see, but I don't think
week
she
before
wants
last week.
Dennis. I think she knows she can have Dennis. It's like one of those
You
things
don't
because
think
that's my baby
so?
daddy. I think
See, I
she can
thought
have
she was
Dennis,
in love with
but I
him.
think that I heard she was like chilling courtside at the Atlanta Hawks games very often. Wink, wink.
Got you.
Allegedly,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like I saw a post where Simon was like, yeah, she spent a lot of time, kind of like I don't want to say like Fallon, but was like started to do her own thing. And what's so crazy to me is that, do you really think? I don't know. To your point, what did we miss? Because 5 days before that, they were in love, in love, in love, in love. We find out about Simon's immigration situation, and then next thing we know, the whole is falling apart. And now we're finding that everything that glitters is not gold. Which, if you're an adult and you've done this for a while and done, as a content creator, we know that. But
Right.
the way that they overcompensated social media wise, and then we
Girl.
find out that like y'all didn't even really seem happy. The way he's coming out with dirt and you were doing I don't know. It's just weird.
And it makes me wonder why he's saying he's doing business in Dubai, but I wonder because for me, we saw the paperwork about him allegedly illegally using a different name. He was his application for citizenship was denied, and then so allegedly he used a different name. And I was like, well, are they just letting that go away? Like it's out. So or whoever just letting that go away? Then I thought, or are they not? And that's why he's over in Dubai, and that's why he ain't been back here because. But all I'm gonna say is Porsha didn't bank on dealing with somebody
A
like
scammer?
Simon. Yeah, yeah. You ain't girl. You're not gonna out scam him.
Bless her heart.
Bless
Look,
her.
as my grandmother would say, bless her heart.
Bless her
But
heart.
yes, thank you so much,
Have
Sharia, for
fun.
joining
I'm doing fun.
me. No, and yes, I definitely want to return the favor, and I will be bringing along my counterpart, my sis,
Yes,
uh,
ma'am.
on the We Go podcast. But please make sure that you go and subscribe and support our girl, and make sure you like up the videos and the
Thank
interviews, and then
you.
send me your link to the podcast as well. Like I don't know if
Okay.
you're Spotify or what, but
Spotify,
yeah.
iTunes, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So because I want to make sure I put that in the description
Yay.
box for everybody to follow as well. But thank you guys so much. If you have not already, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe to both channels, and you hit the notification bells. And yeah, and I will catch you next week for another recap of the Real Housewives of Dubai. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming.